In example 3, we're going to go through power rules with negative exponents. The first thing we want to do is get rid of the parentheses, like always. To do that, we got to take the exponent that's on the outside and we want to multiply it to every exponent on the inside. Let's not forget that our 2 inside the parentheses here does have an exponent of a 1, and that also has to get multiplied by that negative 2. So we start with this negative 2 times 1, which will give us 2 raised to the negative 2. And then we want to take negative 2 times negative 2, which will give us a to the positive 4. And then we're taking 6 times negative 2, which will give us b to the negative 12th. Now from here we need to go ahead and get all of our exponents positive. So right now all of these are in our numerator. Let's start with our fraction bar and decide what needs to get moved and what needs to stay. This 2 has negative 2 as its exponent. Because the exponent is negative, it needs to move to the denominator so that we can make it a positive 2 exponent. So 2 to the positive 2 goes to the bottom. A to the 4th, this exponent is positive, so the a to the 4th is going to stay where it's at, which is in the numerator. And b to the negative 12th, because this has a negative exponent, it's got to move to the bottom and become positive. So we get b to the positive 12th. And then our very last step here is we can evaluate 2 to the 2nd, which is just 4. So we get a to the 4th over 4b to the 12th. Let's try one more together. We'll take a look at letter B. So where letter A was just without a fraction, letter B, we have our quotient here. Same thing's going to happen to get rid of our parentheses. We're going to take that exponent on the outside, and we're going to multiply it to all the exponents on the inside. We do need to remember that this 2 on the inside has an exponent of 1, and will also get multiplied by that negative 5. So we get 2 to the negative 5th on the top. Taking our exponent of 6 and multiplying it by negative 5 gives us x to the negative 30. And in the denominator, if we take our negative 4 and multiply by negative 5, we get y to the 20th. And then from here we need to go make everything, or all our exponents positive. So let's start with our fraction bar and see what needs to go where. If we take a look at this 2 to the negative 5, this has to become a positive 5 here, so we need to move it to the denominator. So this becomes a positive 5 as our exponent. Then if we take a look at our x to the negative 30, negative 30 is a negative exponent, which tells us this whole thing needs to move to the denominator. So we get x to the positive 30 in the denominator. And then y to the 20th, this 20 is positive. It's a positive exponent, so that's going to stay where it's at, which is in the denominator. So that's going to come down here. And remember, if we have all this stuff in the denominator and nothing left, we always can put a 1 in its place. Our last step here is to evaluate our number, which is 2 to the 5th. And 2 to the 5th is 32. So we end up with 1 over 32, x to the 30th, y to the 20th. Next, I would like you to do the try this. There are 2 of them. Once you're done, you can check your answers, so go ahead and pause it now. If you did the try this correctly, number 1 should be 1 over 64, w to the 12th, x to the 15th. And number 2 should be 256, x to the 20th. Oops. Let's try that again. So x to the 20th over w to the 24th. If you have questions on either of these, please let me know.